Let's take a look on the time zone specifically with India. So if you see the eastern and western parts of India, especially longitudinal variation. So this is what the westernmost part of India, 68 degree east. India lies in northern hemisphere and in eastern hemisphere. Okay. So if you see the longitudinal variation of India, so the longitude which is actually passing through Gujarat is actually 68 degree, and the longitude which is actually passes through the easternmost part of India, that is 97 degree east. East because India lies in the eastern hemisphere. So if you see the variation of these two, so the variation is almost we can say 29 degree, or let's say 30 degree variation is there. 30 degree variation means there is a variation of 120 minutes, means variation by 2 hours. So if there is a sunrise here, after the 2 hours you will see the sunrise here. Okay, this is how the circle of illumination is interacting with the spherical shape of our earth, and by the 4 minutes at each longitude it is crossing the earth's surface, because earth is actually rotating from west to east. So suppose we have a 6 o'clock, or let's say we have some sort of time variation. Now in order to reduce this kind of time variation, we actually adopted 1 hour arrangement from this side and 1 hour arrangement from eastern side, and we adopted 82.5 east as Indian Standard Time, IST. Now this IST is actually passing through Mirzapur. So this IST actually passing through Mirzapur, Uttar Pradesh. So longitudinal extent of India, I told you it is somewhere 30 degree. So there is a 2 hour variation. However, India follows a single time zone, that is IST. 82 degree, 30 minutes east. That is what the longitude of India. So this IST is actually adopted in order to have a unification, in order to have a spirit of nationalism, we can say, to have a unity of time as well, to have a transport convenience, administrative convenience as well. But this is actually becoming a problem nowadays. Not problem I would say, but the problem because of the geography. So it's because of the Indian Standard Time. We have just adjusted the clocks. However, the circle of illumination is interacting in the same way. How? Here in the northeastern India, suppose the sunrise is actually taking place by 6 o'clock here. Okay, we have taken a time period from this way, and here we will have what, 5 o'clock, almost 1 hour difference will be here. So the sunrise which is here taking place here at 6 o'clock. Now the sunrise actually, even nowadays, that is going to take place around 5 o'clock in the morning, and you know the sunlight will happen, let's say half an hour before that particular time period. So 4:30 here in the northeastern region we have a light, but here we have what, like let's say 5:30 we have a light. So there is a variation in terms of 1 hour. Now during the winter, I hope you remember the duration of days and the duration of night. So during the night, or let's say during the winter, the duration of night will be greater, and as a result of this greater duration of night, what we have during the closure of office, New Delhi, or let's say as per this Indian Standard Time, the office closure time is 5 o'clock, but there is already sunset in these regions. So there is a wastage of daylight, means the offices, those who are opening at let's say 9 o'clock here, they must open 1 or 1.5 hour prior to the Indian Standard Time in order to save a daylight. See, in evening when you are in the northeastern region, especially women are more vulnerable in terms of the safety convenience. It's because there is a night, but as per the Indian Standard Time, offices should remain open. That's how there is a wastage of daylight. We are not properly utilizing the daylight. That actually resulted into the energy wastage. So we just got a one familiar idea regarding the time zone of India. Moving ahead. So unlike USA, I told you in that particular map that unlike USA, Russia and China, because these countries have a vast east-west expansion, and in order to reduce this time variation or this difference, these countries have multiple time zones. India maintains, on the other hand, one time zone, that is the IST. Now, when we have a single time zone, there are certain advantages and there are certain disadvantages of this. So let's see what are the advantages. So if you have a one clock throughout the country, there will be administrative convenience, there will be a convenience in opening and the closure of office, there will be a national unity, there will be a ease of transport, communication, there will be economic coherence, trade activities will be facilitated, economic activities will be facilitated, confusion will not be there. Means if there is a single time zone, need not to adjust your clocks. If you are in Russia, you have to adjust your clock. If you are traveling by train, you have to adjust your clock. When the time zone is changing, you have to adjust your clock. So global dealing, especially when you are dealing with the import and export, so it's very easy to have some sort of ease of convenience. Now when the countries like India have a vast east-west expansion, and if we do not have that single time zone, there are certain disadvantages. Let's see what are the disadvantages. So I told you, first of all, we have a daylight wastage, especially in northeastern part of India, because of the synchronization of the office timing with respect to the capital or national capital. There is a wastage of daylight. Energy inefficiency is also there. It's because that during the sunlight the offices were closed, and when there is a sunset, now offices were open just to have a simultaneousness, or just to have a synchronization with the office timing as per the Indian Standard Time. That resulted into the switching on the lights. There will be some sort of we can say inefficient use of electricity. So energy inefficiency will be there. Productivity loss will be there. Biological clocks, there will be a mismatch. Our body have a biological clock as per the sunrise and sunset, and that will going to mismatch if we have a single time zone. Regional inequality will be there, and yes, social lifestyle issues would also be persist if countries have a single time zone. So now it's up to you. You have to see that whether India need two time zones or not. Let me give you one more factual information that during the colonial time period, during the Britishers, India had two time zones. Okay, its own advantages and its own disadvantages are there. You have to see which one is the meritorious point.